So I just watched Netflix's The Ranch, one of my favorite movies, and the movie that made me a fan of Goldie Hawn, being an 80s baby, Private Benjamin. I was a late bloomer, a late admirer of my wife and kids. I didn't watch it when it ran, but since it's been in syndicate, I've watched it, and I see where that was going, and I wish that it had been embraced. Don Rio, you've created so many good TV shows, and you've got another one. Netflix's The Ranch is a TV show that can be understood, loved, and liked by all. If you eat, if you have struggles, if you're trying to make it, and given the type of works that Don Rio does as a Caucasian male, knowing how to write and bring forth a work of art that doesn't single out this one and doesn't single out that one, or if you separate yourself from this TV show and make it about that's a white show or that's a black show, you didn't watch this show. And you probably aren't a lover of movies or work of arts in the first. And that's fine. There's a lot of people that have to understand that they can't be critics if you're not a real movie lover. Well, I'm a real movie lover, and Don Rio, you have another one. And the creators of Netflix, you are geniuses. Keep it going. All this hoopla with awards and stuff, I see Netflix being the future of our awards. They're setting the foundation. Let's start with The Ranch. I'm from the Midwest, so maybe that makes me partial to the life of the cowboy. It's been taken out of context, but this TV series brings it right back down to what the core of it is. Well, what the core of a lot of it is. Beef. Beef. It comes from somewhere. For it to plenish our bodies, it has to be raised by someone. Well, these days, it can be raised by factories, but that's the beauty of this show, because it's going to reconnect, I believe, people back to this stuff isn't fabricated from out of midair. Beef, fruits, vegetables are living things that take growth and cultivation and love. And this TV show, I believe, in a way, in my opinion, I liken it to a type of MASH. The TV show MASH. I loved MASH. MASH was in the middle of some horrible mess, but it was able to bring across humor and seriousness. And that's what you get out of The Ranch. Perfect mixture of profanity, not too much, not thrown in there just to make you laugh. I would love not to see this TV show go to where they try to get more funny dingers rather than stay direct on the track that they're on. Go towards the MASH route. Harness the ability of all actors to be able to bring forth comedy and seriousness and bring it back around to comedy. Let's start with the cast. All-star cast. Kudos to the casting crew. First, we've got Deborah Winger all being reunited in this TV show, which just, while Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson, I'll get to you guys in a minute, but you definitely bring your flair. But the cast did a great job choosing the top actors in this TV show. Everyone played off of each other well. Even the people who may be considered, I guess in my opinion, whose movies I haven't seen in this TV show, all have a nice level playing field when it comes to their roles in this TV show. No one has too big of a role, well, so far, and I hope that it stays this way. It's all evenly split. I became a fan of Sam Elliott as a young girl. I'm an 80s baby. I'm an African-American woman. And one of the first roles of many that I became a fan of Sam Elliott is The Shadow Riders. The Shadow Riders was one of those movies that I didn't want to see it end. I wanted to see it continue. I wanted to know, what happens with the brothers. I'll have to do a whole Sam Elliott segment. But beyond The Shadow Riders and some of his many other great actual Western works, Fatal Beauty, a role he played with Whoopi Goldberg. Now, I guess this would probably be one of the first breakout biracial movies. And I'd have to actually go backwards and make that a whole nother segment to people's reaction to Whoopi Goldberg and Sam Elliott in the end initially becoming More Than Friends, even though they waited to the damn hot last damn spot of that movie to do that. That might have been a good play. Either way, it brung a different flavor to Sam Elliott. It broke him out of that Western. So many actors get roped into a tight cast. They get typecast into a role where I want to talk about that with Danny Masterson, because Danny Masterson, I see you as the next Tom Hanks. But Sam Elliott is able to just smoothly go back and forth into those roles, into those different roles that, you know, I know and love him as that Western man, that rancher. This is why this TV show is really, I wouldn't say a full coming circle, because there's so many other avenues, man. You know, people can live to 100 and the things that can be done in them 100 years. So I don't believe in capping a person's work of art. I love it when I see older actors realize that their time wasn't over with their youth. And Sam Elliott is just endless. He brings the flair as the matriarch of this family. Barry Corbin, man, you know, I don't know if these guys are friends or if they've kept in touch. Barry Corbin, Sam Elliott, the Conager. It's the last movie, or that's the movie I can remember them being together in. And I also was a fan of Urban Cowboy, where him and Deborah Winger are reunited in this role, and Barry Corbin and Sam Elliott just play off each other beautifully. There aren't a whole lot of actors, I believe, that can pull across what these two actors pull across in their scenes together in the ranch. You know, some roles you can tell they're acting. You know, these guys could hate each other offset in real life, but the love-hate energy that comes across on the screen, because I'm a movie person, I just think a lot of people could take some notes as to knowing how to capture the watcher. It's not about dropping them funny hints. In their scenes together, they brought such comedic harmony and weightness to the comedy. Don Rio, what you've tried to capture and getting people to understand how to get beyond their differences and angers and just play off of it. Play off of it. Deborah Winger, such an accomplished actress. I believe that this is really, that out of the entire cast, this is by far the breakout role for Deborah Winger. Not breakout, because she is an amazing actress. You know, but I feel that she's had a few other Western roles, but nothing bring you back to the connection of Sissy. Sissy of Urban Cowboy. You was just so worried about Sissy. You wondered how she was going to turn out. You wondered if they was going to grow into that couple where he begins laying his hands on her. I believe Urban Cowboy, again, was one of the first roles that, where Fatal Beauty was that first biracial role, for me, that I saw. Urban Cowboy was probably the first domestic abuse role. Being a woman, you know, you just kind of wanted to smack Sissy yourself. So many different avenues just bringing this show, The Ranch, together. I really hope that the flow stays right where it is. Deborah Winger, the last season, the last show, I cannot believe to say it, jerked my tear. You kind of wanted to see them together, but you totally understand her wanting her freedom, and all the way down to the song chosen for this show. It's hard to love a cowboy. Well, you know, that can be said across the board for some men, period. My father was a very, well, for me, quiet man. He was a ladies' man, mumbling man. And maybe that's why I feel partial, a certain kinman being from the Midwest to this role. But you got to figure out a way to get into those assholes' heads, because when they're gone, all you're left is with just a whole bunch of questions. And while people on the surface who may not be into movies or into shows or make it about a racial thing, or, you know, hell, maybe some shows are racial. I'm a movie person. Man, you have to just take that stuff away and give this show a shot. If you are an African American who likes movies, likes cowboys movies, but think this is just another show, give it a shot. Which you probably wouldn't think that anyway, given the cast. Deborah Winger, I didn't You are beautiful in this role. I really, 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 while I understand as a woman, man, I'm on the edge of my seat to see what's going to happen for the next season. Are you going to come back, or will old Silver Fox give him another love interest? Because, he still got it. I just look forward to the future of this show and future reviews. Now, let's get to the younger actors. Ashton Kutcher, Danny Masterson. Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson both by themselves have a tremendous work of arts. I see their growth. Let's start with you, Ashton. People coming down hard on you. It's so hard for comedic actors to transition into a serious role. It has to really be done with finesse. And there's a good amount of actors who've done it. Ashton, I liken you to this role of Hawkeye in MASH. You and Sam Elliott, and the whole cast for that matter. But those main characters, Rooster, Bo, and Cole, you all play off each other very well. Just like the characters of MASH. And that's just a flavor that I hope remains. I hope that the ranch doesn't try to go too comedic. Ashton, I can see this being the perfect role to show your fans a more serious side. You've done that in some movies. I thought the Steve Jobs movies was well made, but I think fans' inability to see you serious. And I think you're going the right route with tapping into Western, if that's what you're doing. It's so easy to get caught up and forget that actors are people accepting roles and looking at scripts and making choices. This cast pulls the TV series The Ranch off so well, it can easily be mistaken for a real family. Now, I did, Ashton, observe where you toned down more of the corniness to try to transition into more of the serious rancher. Maybe not necessarily a serious rancher. I like that there's no idiot characters. Well, not yet anyway. So many comedic series have to have that just all-out dumb character. And I can see where if some jackass in the background of this show goes, oh, we need more funny. Well, Ashton, I think that would just reverse if what you're trying to do is go into more serious roles and need these fans that won't let go of that 70s show, that dude, where's my car, that punk. It does take a certain finesse. Robin Williams tried it, but a comedic actor trying to go serious can also mess up the movie when the movie's trying to be too safe to protect that comedic actor. I think this route or this role will allow you to make a good transition into a serious actor. Danny Masterson. Now I gotta say, no disrespect to the work of art. I wasn't a fan of that 70s show, ironically. I mean, I was a fan of a certain part, but beyond that, there are far few and in between shows that I did see, though. There was one character that always was the only one to make me laugh. Stephen Hyde. Again, being an African-American woman, most of them characters was bootsy as hell and unrelatable to what I knew about, but the role of Stephen Hyde seemed to be the voice of the person of my opinion. And later on, when I actually took a liking to the show and started to watch it, it remained Stephen Hyde, Danny Masterson's character. Not one other character. Now, you could tell that the other cast are going to go on to have great careers. You, Danny Masterson, I see a certain foundation in you. And you're likened to Ashton Kutcher in that you can really get typecasted in that type of role, that surly asshole role, which you play very well. But I see something deeper in you. When Tom Hanks one of my favorite movies that Tom had, I believe that it was Bachelor Party. Tom Hanks started out with a whole lot of silly roles. He was kind of that silly, raunchy character of his day. And I liken your work of arts to that, Danny Masterson. That being said, Tom Hanks chose or was selected the right crossover parts. Now, I believe I would call the first serious movie to be Philadelphia. And it was just an even mixture. And I believe also one of the first movies to come out speaking about homosexuality and HIV. But that marked a turning point for his career. And I just liken you to that, Danny Masterson, because I can see wanting a different type of cast. I also enjoyed finding out that your brother is the oldest brother on Malcolm in the Middle. We'll make that a whole other segment. But Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson's work of arts all together right now is in the prime, in the youth portion of their career. I believe that this role in The Ranch will help for these two young actors and some of the other young actors in this series cross over from their comedy roles into a more serious roles. Give their fans a chance to see glimpses of the type of movies that these two young actors could play that is absolutely contrasting to the surly asshole and the narcissistic pretty boy. Revisiting these roles after the prime of your career in the finesse that Sam Elliott and Barry Corbin. Oh man, Ben 10. You know, Barry Corbin, he's just one of those actors to me that you'd just be surprised to see him in that role. You know, these guys weren't all country western. And at some point in time, they figured out, man, I better open my horizons or I'm going to miss out on some opportunities here. And they've done it with finesse to the point to be able to dip back into the western movies that put their talents on the screen and finesse themselves into different roles. And I can see Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson, if they can keep the writers on track to make sure that there's a very finessing way, because shows can get too serious where it's real clear you're trying to make a point. Like with the show Empire that recently had record-breaking, hey, I watch Empire and the points they're trying to come across with, but then there's a certain thing as, okay, you're being completely obvious here, and then there's a finesse. Don Rio giving your work of art Between My Wife and Kids, The John Larroquette Show, Blossom, I See You. All things about becoming one and understanding as one aren't about control. It's about that we are all one. All of those shows try to teach, or if not teach, lay down an example of some of the hardships being felt in this time of day. From children having babies, from grandparents raising the generations under them, from the Jewish family, from the Caucasian male, from the Western work of arts. Don Rio, you are definitely not a typecasted creator. And you've got another one. And I look forward to seeing this show stay on the track that it's on. To all of the cast members not mentioned, stay tuned.